Alrighty, show us your tips, Daggy, with you for a very quick touch base this week to look at Rosehill. Haven't been able to get stuck into the Melbourne form with the Australian Open going on. I had a bit to do there, so for now we'll just see if we can get through Sydney. A couple of caught my eye with a brief look I have had down south, but to start with, let's look at Rosehill. Rail in the 3-metre position on a hot day in Western Sydney. Let's keep an eye out for it being up and on pace, but they've pumped a fair bit of water into the track, so we'll just see what happens there with any bias. We kick off with a 1,500-metre highway, where I respect the short price favourite being what it is, given it's going to get the great run from gate 2 in a Regal Problem. But I was looking at a few at odds that caught my eye. The first two were the two that will lead, Hannah's Bridge and Holy Hell. They're both double figures, one leading for Tim Clark. And I'll have a small bet on each of them leading up here. And the other one was Days Off, who was caught 3 wide last time out at Roundwick. And it was quite brave in that Mount Bonner race. Nash takes over, likely to go back, but if I find some running line and we're able to run on at 30s, I think it's an easy bet to have. All three of those I'll have small bets on. If you like the favourite, I'm not going to pot that, but I was just looking at some value. I have seen better priced better chances at short prices in Airways before. The second is a 1,350-metre midway race here, and the lightly race attractiveness is favourite, but is easy to like here. It was very good last time out, just nabbed last time by the David Payne runner in Trafalgar Square, who's a bit of a perennial in these sort of races. Gets to 1-1, and this is an awful midway. It's on top, and not much to add apart from, I think, Kryptonic from a better gate can improve at a price. Think about that for exotics. I thought it ran as well as it could have, going back and just having a day out last time out from the inside gate. It might be one at good value, actually, just looking through this, that will improve. The market's found it lately since I've done the form, a bit of money for it today. But attractiveness, one of the better bets on the card. The best on the card comes up in the third, which is the Road to the Slipper beginning, the Group 3 Canterbury Stakes for the 2-year-old boys over 1,100 metres. And Incognito was very, very good on debut last year. Has trialled beautifully since, including against the older horses last time out. Trialled alongside Lady Shenandoah and behind some good ones who we'll get to later on. Sets up perfectly here. I don't think there's a lot here. I'm interested to see what these Waller runners bring to the table. I think Confederation is probably the scariest of them, but they all seem to be expensive, overpriced conveyances for now. Incognito, best bet on the card. The fourth is the girls' version, the Widden Stakes, 1,100 metres for the 2-year-old fillies at Group 3 level. And I like the favourite here, Miss Scandal. Had trialled alongside Incognito. The couple back behind Home and Dry, who we lost last week, but trialled well. J-Mac jumps on, gets a nice, well, it's mapped on the Racing New South Wales map, 1-1, beautiful setup, I think, ready to go, and looks a nice horse. Chili Girl, the main danger, given it a lead, and I think that Pearl of Dubai will get a much better setup than it had on debut. Trials have been fine. Coming back for this, the fifth is a 1,350-metre benchmark 78, and we'll have a bit of a feel for how the track's playing by this stage of the day, but I thought the favourite here, Sovereign Hill, was a bit short. I think it's horse with some ability, but has come off a trouncing leading at Canterbury, which doesn't always stack up to Saturday grade. So, look, Interjection on top for me, on the quick backup of just having a day out last week. Went back, stayed there, hit the line well enough, and from gate 5 with a bit more intent, will run well here. Off the pressure, it finds some covers, going really well. Honest thing, if it gets onto Interjection's back, it might be its main danger. So I was looking around Interjection and off the press predominantly, and I did think Little Beginnings was over the odds. J-Mac on for horses going quite well, read into a couple of decent ones, including the horse I've tipped, Interjection, a couple back. Been wrong before, but yeah, just taking on the leader here, Sovereign Hill, because it's going to have to bounce off a long break and a Canterbury win into having to come to Saturday and do it again. The 6, a benchmark 88, 1,500 metres. And look, we are coming off a wet track leader, but I do think Cross Tasman is a very nice horse going somewhere. Impressive last time out. Geez, it's short now. Impressive last time out, beating off the press a couple back. We'll get a line through it. and then did it as it liked on the wet. Has to come back to a dry, but this is a fairly mediocre race on a fairly mediocre card. Very, very easy to like. Amplify, lightly raced trial since its first up win, the main danger there, and kind words going well. Markets in the right order. Quaddy kicks off with a 1200 metre benchmark 88, and Roslyn Star favourite at the moment. I'm going to put it on top, just maps perfectly. The J-Mac happy spot 1-1, peels off Selmerian and should get the job done here. Just got pantsed up at the Gold Coast, comes back here, has had the trip away. All things being equal, be very hard to beat. I think Eye of the Fire is flying, and a live danger here will make it the next best at the $9 mark. Could be a nice Quinella play there. The 8th is a Group 3 JRA plate, 1200 metres, and a horse I'm interested to see back for the autumn ahead is Enriched. It's had a long time off. I think it's 40-odd weeks. We haven't seen it since last April. A bunch of trials for this, and I thought all the trials have been very good. Last one beat Manal and beat it fairly cozily, very stylishly. Before that was quite good, just going back and going through his work, and I think this is a nice horse. Might want to run, obviously, long time off. Tommy Berry on, Michael Friedman, hot trainer, and him resuming in a winnable race. I'm very to see what it brings to the table. So I'll put it on top. From Zarastro, I think leading at Rosehill could be its go. Stacks up well enough. We know what it does well all around the country now. Very honest, and will find the lead. Interesting little race here, Meridiana Disney, not without hopes when we get to the quaddie. The 9th, 2,000 metre benchmark 78, which is an awful race. It would be better served possibly at Wyong, and that's why I'm going to throw on top here at 20s. That's Casino Bear. I talked about it last start. I think it's going pretty well in much better races. It chased Unlimited and, Furious and Townsend last time out. Before that was Kind Words. It's $23. Copped, didn't have the best of luck. Got cleaned up out of the gates last time. Still ran 4th. Comes here, 7-day back up. We are deep in a prep, but this is a fairly mediocre race, and I'm pretty sure David will bet on it here. At what I can see is around $23 at the moment. Harlow will at least lead this race. Main danger, Harlow Mist, I should say, will at least lead this race. Finally winning off a long time out. I know it was at Kenzo, so but it is a race. So they're the two main ones I've given thoughts to here. Hopefully can add a bit of value to our quadrilla. And wrap up with the 10th, which is a benchmark 72. We'll know the track pattern really truly by here, but if we're running on Stormland goes on top, I like what it did first up. I like what it did at Canterbury, storming home late there, and I think it is a horse of some ability. It's in pretty good order, this preparation, and it goes on top for me at the each way price. From Nepo Baby, around the same price, has a bunch of bush form, but I think it's just been doing that pretty easily. I think stacks up well here. Looking forward to seeing what it brings to the table, and leading in the last won't be a bad thing. Couple there at around the $6 mark that to wrap us up for the day. My best on the card, race 3, $1 Incognito. My value race 9, number 4, Casino Bear. Quaddie at Rosehill. First leg will go 3, Eye of the Fire, 4, Roslyn Star, and 8, Ironman. Second leg, 1, Zarastro, 4, Willada, some big trials, 5, Disney, 6, Enriched, and 8, Meridiana. Third leg, 4, Casino Bear, 5, Harlow Mist, 7, Willie Opper with J-Mac, and 8, Existential Bob. And last, 3, Eagle Express, 4, Stormland, 6, Sequester, and 13, Nepo Baby. $100 gets you about 42%. For the rest of the country, from what I've seen, Morpheville Race 1, number 7, Torpedoes, surely gets the job done here. Race 2 at Eagle Farm, number 9, Laredo. And at Caulfield, I've only had a very quick look, but I think the first, Jennings Meadow, can kick us off there. Race 4, number 6, Sun Gift. Nice step up in distance for it. And a nice 2-year-old Big Sky, race 6, number 1, in the 6th. Looking forward to seeing Damask Rose if it can find some form in the 7th, but not necessarily tipping that by any means. That is a very well-written show us your tips for this week. Full service is resumed next week. Thank you, guys. Talk soon.